A mostly cloudy good morning to you. Jonathan Dent filling in for Terry this morning. I say mostly cloudy. It was mostly cloudy earlier. We had a few peaks of sunshine, but now it's just kind of gray and overcast, and that's kind of what we're expecting here over the next 48 hours or so. I'm joined in studio by Matthew Lester. Terry will be out just for today. He'll be back in on Monday for next week. As I said, cloudy skies here today, maybe a few isolated showers here and there, especially earlier on this morning, but relatively dry over the next couple of days or so. We'll get into that forecast in just a little bit. First, let's take a look at what happened yesterday. We saw some trace amounts in both rain and snow, up to 42 degrees for a high in the afternoon, pretty close to the average of 44 for this time of year. Though that will have been the last below average day for at least the next several days. Last night, just before midnight, got down to 35 degrees for a low. A few showers earlier this morning to start things off, but that activity pretty much come to an end here today. We might still see one or two isolated here and there, but not too much expected. Right now, Matthew, what are we looking at on the thermometer?
Currently, over at the airport, it's cloudy at 48. Over in Midland, it's cloudy at 46. Here, Radio Center, it's cloudy at 45. We have north winds at 17 miles per hour, and our pressure's at 29.76, and it's steady.
49 was our projected high for today. I think we're looking at more of a 50-51. We got a little bit of that sunshine earlier on through the breaks of clouds, but as I said, not much in terms of the precipitation and warming up a little bit here after that chilly day yesterday. The cloud cover stays throughout the day, breaking up a little bit overnight tonight, dropping down to around 40 degrees this evening with mostly cloudy skies. The low pressure system that had really been driving a lot of our weather for the early parts of this week has moved out to the east, and at this point we're kind of caught just on the fringes of multiple systems across the continental U.S. We've got some gusty northwest winds to contend with here today, blowing up to 25 miles per hour, and that'll continue into tomorrow as we remain mostly cloudy with a high of 48 to start out the weekend. Pretty standard autumn day, a little bit above average, but not too bad. Tomorrow night drops down to 35 degrees for a low, mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, another mostly cloudy day, another high of 48 degrees. Then on Sunday night, we see our next best chance to get some rain coming in, a low of 38 overnight Sunday night. Those showers come and go throughout the morning hours on Monday, getting into the low 50s for a high early afternoon, and then some more rain picks up Monday afternoon as well. Right now, it looks like a better chance for some precipitation in those afternoon, evening hours, a low just above freezing Monday night, and that better chance for that precipitation. I'll let you draw your own conclusions there. For most of next week, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, but temperatures will begin to decrease a little bit below normal. Tuesday and Wednesday, we're only looking at around 40 for high temperatures, below 40 for a high on Wednesday right now, and dipping into the mid-20s overnight those nights. Wednesday night looks like a decent chance for some freezing rain and snow, and there is the chance for that to carry over into the morning on Thanksgiving Day. As right now, we're projecting a high in the upper 30s for Turkey Day. So, in short, precipitation thinning out here over the next several days. It's not going to go away completely. We will still see an isolated shower or two. And beginning early next week, temperatures starting to go from slightly above average to slightly below. Our average high for this date is 43 degrees, so running a little bit warmer here today. Average low is 30. Our long-range outlook takes us through December 5th. At the beginning of the week, we were looking at about an even split across the continental U.S., with the northwest being below or above average and the southeast being below average. Now almost the entire continental U.S. looking at being below average on the thermometer through December 5th, mostly the northern U.S., but it's spreading across the entire continental U.S. on the map, and near normal precipitation, at least here in the Great Lakes, or in Michigan, rather. There are a few spots to the north of us that might get a little bit more than average precipitation, but for the most part, we've seen the surge in rain kind of die down, if you could call it that even. Our record high for November the 22nd was set in 1913. 66 degrees was our high on this date then. And our record low set in 1929, 11 degrees. Sun will set this evening at 5:05, rise tomorrow morning at 7:41. We'll have more on that weather as we move on through today's broadcast. But first, we've got a market report to get to. Matthew, who are we talking to today?
Up next, we have Gary Kaufman from Star of the West, and we also have Doug Klein from Oppenheimer.
All of that's ahead, but first, the weather report today brought to you by the folks at Nutrien Ag Solutions.
The Michael Sarr Crop Insurance Agency. They're licensed to serve all of Michigan with both conventional and organic crop insurance. Now, you can reach their agents directly on their cell phones for questions or emergencies, or you can call the office in downtown Reese. It's 989-868-4722. Risk management, it's all about protecting yourself against the bad things, taking advantage of the good things. You can do all of that and more by working with the folks at the Michael Sarr Crop Insurance Agency.
Time for our Friday market report. We say good morning to Gary Kaufman from Star of the West. Gary, how are we doing today?
Good morning, Jonathan. Doing well, thanks.
I'm looking at the current board, at least it might be a little bit more delayed than what you've got. Not a whole lot of movement, huh?
No, it's, just we were up a couple pennies on corn and beans earlier, then we were down, but now we've kind of pretty much got uneven for the day on corn and soybeans, and we lost our gains on the wheat also today. The wheat is kind of leading the way down, but overall, the wheat futures, we're up about 20 cents from last Friday's close, and for soybeans we're down about 22. And corn has actually been up only about 2 cents for the whole week. It's just been a kind of a flat, choppy week for the most part. But some of the driving factors, I guess, has been, South America weather has been pretty decent. There's no issues down there. And some of the gains in the wheat arena was the uprising tensions of Russia, Ukraine, and that Black Sea region. So we'll continue to watch that. But, we've had a strong dollar, probably the dollar index as high as it's been in 2 years. So that's keeping wheat kind of capped, along with some of the nice moisture we've received across the southern plains for the winter wheat. And so we'll just kind of watch weather in South America, and then we'll watch demand on exports and some of the uncertainties in the Middle East and Black Sea regions as we go through next week, going into the holiday week. So,
all right, what do you got on the board right now?
Yeah, right now, let's call cash wheat down 6, 531 on the white, 458 on the red. New crop for 2025 down 6 as well at 581 on the white, 496 on the red. Cash corn unchanged, 352. New crop for next year down a penny at 371. Cash soybeans unchanged as well at 883. And new crop for 2025, let's call it down 3, Jonathan, at 922.
All right, well, not a whole lot of movement this week, but we'll keep an eye on it for next week. Gary, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too, Gary Kaufman from Star of the West. Market report today brought to you by Freeland Bean and Grain. They're your Dairyland seed dealer carrying a full line of corn and Enlist soybean seed, proven weed control designed to get you a better harvest. Right now, they've got a supply across all Dairyland varieties, including the new Vorseed and PowerCore Enlist traded corn hybrids. Contact Justin Varner for more information. Dairyland Seed, they've got seed with your name on it from your friends at Freeland Bean and Grain since 1983, where serving you is their business. Also brought to you by Thumb Bank, making agricultural loans since 1895. Farming today continues to offer challenges that are very demanding, and Thumb Bank and Trust helps you stay up to date on industry trends and the trends of your operation. Thumb Bank and Trust, serving you with locations throughout the Thumb and in the Great Lakes Bay region. Thumb Bank and Trust, where relationships are built on trust. Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC. We say good morning to Doug Klein from Oppenheimer. Doug, how are we ending the week?
Well, fairly stable today. The stock markets are all up today. Well, the Nasdaq's down a little bit, but nothing earth-shattering. AT&T hit a new high today. Tesla hit a new high for the year today, so that guy's getting good traction for his votes. Yeah, other than that, it's just a little all more of the same. Gold's up about $30 today, so 1%. That's a pretty good move, but natural gas down 5%, kind of erasing what they gained yesterday. That's a volatile commodity, and you'll have to have a pretty strong stomach to play with that one. So anyway, here's your numbers. December corn 426 and a quarter, down a half a penny. The March corn 436 and a quarter, unchanged. January soybeans 977 and three quarters, also unchanged. March soybeans 986, up three quarters of a penny. December wheat is 542 and three quarters, down 6. March wheat 562 and three quarters, down 6 and three quarters. The crude oil 70.83, up 73 cents. Heating oil is 228.45, unchanged. Gasoline is 205.77, down a tenth of a penny. Natural gas 328.5, down 19.5 cents. Over to currencies, Canadian dollar. US dollar buys $1.3987 Canadian. That's up 17 ticks. The dollar buys 154.87 yen, up 33 ticks. The euro is at 103.95, down 78 ticks, and that bugger's getting cheap. The dollar is getting expensive, 107.69, up 72 ticks. So that's getting to be problem territory. So hopefully it can stem that trend pretty soon. So gold's up 28.90 an ounce at 27.04. Silver's at 31.21, up 26 cents. Platinum's 965.80, down $1, and copper's at 412.35, down 4 cents.
All right, Doug, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Doug Klein from Oppenheimer. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll touch base with Kim Weiss over at Lingle Equipment. Then we'll head over to Rummel and talk with Craig Voorhees. But first, this.
Farm Service brought to you today by the folks at Steiner Tractor Parts. New parts for old tractors made easy. So simple. All you have to do is call 800-234-3280 or go to steinertractor.com. Remember, they share your enthusiasm for your antique machine, and they know that you want to keep it running. That's why they take their job personally at Steiner Tractor Parts, because they understand your life and job both stop if your tractor stops running. Want to make that unit look really sharp this coming summer? Show it off a little bit at the shows? You can do that. Steiner Tractor. For more information, go to steinertractor.com.
We say good morning to Kim Weiss from Lingle Equipment. Kim, is the work season over, or are people still needing to get out and do some things?
Well, there's probably still time to do some things out in the yard or around the farm, but I think now is the time to start planning for next year. And like I said last week, we still have a nice supply of zero-turn lawnmowers in the 200 series Kubotas, 200 series, and the 400 series. The 200 series is a residential mower for somebody that's maybe cutting up to 3/4 of an acre. And I have size decks from 42-inch to 48 to even 54-inch decks. And then I also have the 400 series, which is a commercial spec for the homeowner, and that I have in a 60-inch deck. We have them here in the showroom where it's warm. Come on in and take a look at them. Let's sit down and we'll talk about it, and we'll make something happen. And then we can store it for you till next spring. When next spring rolls around, you have confidence to know that all you got to do is go out and turn the key and you're ready to go mowing. Come on in and see us. We're right alongside I-75, just south of the Zilwaukee Bridge off the Washington Road exit. Or give me a call at 989-754-7801. Or send me an email, and I'll send you the information back at k.weiss, W-E-I-S-S, at lingle1.com.
Hey, that's storing it until spring sounds like a good plan. Thank you, Kim.
You bet. Take care, and I won't talk to before, so from all of us here at Lingle Equipment, happy Thanksgiving.
And happy Thanksgiving to you as well. That's Kim Weiss from Lingle Equipment. Time to shift gears a little bit now. We head over to Craig Voorhees from the Rummel Agency. Craig, good morning.
Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, we've got snow that we're talking about more and more. It's getting close to Christmas. And I'm seeing a lot of decorations out there. Is there anything from an insurance side that we need to know about that?
Well, not so much an insurance side, but you're right. With the mild fall we've had, lots of folks got their decorations out early. And I happened to be walking through a box store the other day and noticed how many sets of lights they had plugged into just one outlet. It was amazing, and not in a good way. So just a word of caution, make sure you're using if you are decorating outside, that you're using extension cords and lights and timers that are made to be used outdoors. And please don't plug 10 lights into one outlet. Go ahead and get that extra extension cord, and those things can get overloaded. Even though the LEDs don't use as much energy as the old light bulbs did, they can still get overloaded and still can cause a fire. And we don't want that any time of the year, but especially around the holidays.
Absolutely not. And I'm sure your insurance agent will thank you. A little bit of precaution means they don't have to work over the holidays, right?
That's right. And, whenever you got to call your agent, it's usually after something's gone wrong, and you don't want to be making those calls during the holidays.
Absolutely. Make sure things go right. Craig, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you. Craig Voorhees with the Rummel Insurance Agency. We'll be back with more after this.
Farm Service brought to you today by the folks at Quality Roasting of Reese, purchasing local soybeans, processing the local beans, and marketing local Exceller meal, which is a high bypass soybean meal for your dairy herd. They've been doing that since 1991. Quality Roasting of Reese, offering competitive, consistent prices for your soybeans. Give them a call for a quote today.
We say good morning to Stephanie Zelenko from AgroLiquid. Stephanie, I imagine there's a lot of planning going on right now.
It is. We've transitioned to that time of year of wrapping up what our yields were and what our outcomes were for this past season, and then start thinking about how we want to make changes and improvements going into 2025.
What did yields look like overall for this year?
I think a lot of guys were surprised on where their yields were, and they were pockets. Some guys had the drier weather that their yields were about average, but then we had a lot of guys I'm hearing across the central part of the state that their corn yields were above average, and even their soybean yields were higher than they anticipated. And so I think even though our commodity prices are low, overall the guys are happy what they were getting for yields. There are pockets, even on our home farm, we had some highs and some lows, but for the most part, I think they were pretty satisfied with what they got.
That's kind of what I've been hearing as well. What kind of adjustments or planning needs to be done for next year?
Well, I think one thing that we always need to watch out when we pull off more yield than anticipated is that we check those soils to make sure we didn't lose more nutrients. The more bushels we produce, the more that plant took up from the soil. So just making sure we're taking it in good inventory of what we have left so we can make those adjustments come next year. Phosphorus, potassium are the two big ones that I'm going to worry about that we may have lower numbers. So just make sure that we're adjusting our fertilizer plan for 2025 to account for what we may have taken out in 2024.
Does the time of year that you do soil testing matter, or just that you do it at the same time of year every year?
That's correct. The same time every year, if you want to compare season to season. Soils cycle, so if you do some in the fall and some in the spring, it's a little bit harder to make those comparisons based upon what that natural cycling is that's taking place.
Good stuff. Stephanie, thank you very much. Have a good weekend, and in case we don't talk to you, a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
Stephanie Zelenko from AgroLiquid. We'll head over to Maple Hill Nursery. Say good morning to Chuck Cervinsky. Chuck, how are we doing today?
Hey, pretty good.
So a lot of trimming going on out in the yard, and I hear there's some uses for some of those branches and limbs that might be coming down.
Definitely, especially if you're doing some holiday decorating, maybe making a tabletop or mantle decoration. Your yard may have something to offer. Branches from arborvitaes, boxwood, junipers, and spruce are really handy for holiday projects. The question right now is, can I trim those off this time of the year? And the answer is yes, you can. An overgrown tree or shrub is in need of trimming right now to balance its shape this time of the year, and it makes it very easy to use those branches. However, if you've got good form on the plant and it doesn't need trimming, you can take branches maybe from the back of the plant or an interior branch where they won't be missed. And some of our faster growing ornamental evergreen shrubs that provide colorful branches as well, green mountain boxwood, globe blue spruce, Rheingold arborvitae, sun-kissed arborvitae, and blue holly are just a few of the many that you could use in your holiday decorating.
Fantastic. Are those, I'm going to ask kind of a weird question. Are those common things that people might have in their yards? And if so, how would they know?
Yeah, those are plants that you will see here and there. Some of the more common ones, though, that are used are going to be your arborvitae and holly. Those are two of the most popular for the holiday season.
Absolutely. Chuck, thank you very much. We will talk to you again.
We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Fantastic. Chuck Cervinsky with Maple Hill Nursery. We'll be back with more after these notes. Once again, just to look at our weather, we're looking at a high up into the low 50s here today. Got a little shot of sunshine here this morning. That'll help out a little bit. 51 our projected high. We're seeing the cloud cover come in now, and there might be a couple scattered showers that still stick around, but I think this morning was kind of the last of what we'll see for those, at least over the next 24 hours or so. Mostly cloudy skies here tonight, a low of 40 degrees. Then tomorrow, still mostly cloudy skies, a high of 48, which is a little bit above average for this time of year, down to 35 for a low overnight, then back up to 48 on Sunday. And that's kind of when we start to cool down a little bit. 38 for a low on Sunday, and then Monday, I shouldn't say we wait to cool down until after Monday, because we get into the low 50s on Monday. That's when we see a good chance for some rain moving through as a low pressure system moves in west to east across our region as well. And that'll cool things off moving into next week with more of that on again, off again rain, and maybe mixing with a little bit of snow, especially during those overnight hours. We'll take a look at the markets and the weather coming up at the bottom of the hour, so stick around for that. But for now, we'll conclude our program with the playing of our national anthem, brought to you by Euclid Avenue Coins in Bay City.